Welcome back to this combined Neos and Blender tutorial. We're going to be covering scale today, as I heard a lot of questions about scale whilst I was away for the holidays. I'm going to be using Blender for this. If you use a different 3D modeling application, stuff will be different. Maybe just search for Blender Scale, Maya Scale, 3ds Max Scale, whatever helps you out here. So we're going to start ahead in Blender. We're going to make some cubes, set their scale up, and prove that if we do everything correctly, when we bring them into Neos, they are the same scale. So to start with, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to figure out the scale that Blender scenes are at. Now, by default, they are in meters, but I'll show you how to prove that. On the right-hand side of the screen, I've just got a zoomed-in version of this. You'll see underneath these properties here, right here, there is this like cone and then two spheres icon. And under that, there is the units section. So you can expand that, and you'll see it says unit system metric, unit scale 1, and then you'll see rotation is degrees, length is meters, mass is kilograms, time is seconds, and temperature is Kelvin. Those are known as SI units. They are really good, especially for creating accurate things, so leave them as the default. The key one here that we're looking at, though, is length being meters. This tells you, hey, everything is in meters. It's not in some other weird thing. It's in meters. So there you go. What I'm now going to do is go ahead and add a cube. So add mesh cube, and you'll see that I've got a cube here. Once again, using my super zoom in powers, you'll see up here on the right in the item pane that this cube has started out its life as 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. And this means it is that. It's exactly that. It's 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. If I spawned this into Neos, you'll see it'll be 2 meters. We'll do this in just a moment, but I want to create some other cubes to show you some differences and some challenges that might come up. So what I'm going to do is select this cube, do Shift D to select it, push X, and we'll bring a cube over there, and then Shift D and X, and we'll bring another cube here. So we've got 3 cubes in a line. The back cube here, I'm going to scale it so it's twice as big as the original cube. I'm going to just push S and then 2. And now you'll see, that's weird. Must have pushed 2 keys. Sometimes in Blender you end up pushing like multiple keys. Why is it doing that? Oh, I know why it's doing that. It's doing that because I locked that. I need to unlock that. I must have accidentally clicked that. S2. There we go. Good extra tip there for you. You can lock scale. So now you'll see here that this cube is at 2 scale because we've got a 2 here, and a 2 here. And it is 4 meters by 4 meters by 4 meters. This other one here, we're going to scale to half the size. I'm going to go ahead and scale to 0.5. And you'll see it's at 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Now you'll also notice that this scale property is at 0.5. And on this one, it is 2. And that's because Blender has recognized that you have taken this original object, which is of scale 1, and you have scaled it by double to get it to 4 meters and half to get it to 1 meter. When importing a model into Neos, I recommend that wherever ever possible, you apply scales so that you have 1, 1, 1 wherever you can. Like all the ones is so much better than anything else that's confusing. So the way to do that for scale is you go here, you select the object, you push Control A, and you select scale. I do talk more about applying transforms in my origins tutorial. That's more about the location applying. The scale one just resets this number up here. So you'll see it's a 4 meter cube and it's got 1, 1, 1 in the scale. Yeah. And then that tiny cube here, which is just out of shot because of the zoomed in doodad, that's at 1 scale with 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Go ahead and export this now so we can go ahead and take a look inside Neos. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to go to File, Export, and in 2023 I'm starting an initiative where we use GLTF. We don't use FBX anymore. FBX is old, use GLTF. GLTF is absolutely fine. So I'm going to go ahead and export that to somewhere on my computer. You can't see that because my file browser is a complete mess right now, and I don't want you to see it. So with that done, I've now got a cubes GLTF file, and I'm over in Neos. So let's go ahead and swap to Neos, which I almost forgot to do. That would have been interesting. Now inside Neos, push Control V because it's on my the file we made is on my clipboard here. And in other tutorials, you'd have seen me always suggest that we go to 3D model and regular. That's the same here, but the difference comes when we get to here. Usually I would have told you to go to auto scale, unknown scale for anything that is not an avatar, and auto humanoid height for anything that is an avatar. I've started, at least for models which I control, doing something different though, which is selecting meters, because I put them in Blender, I created them in Blender, I know what scale they're at, so I select meters. So that's what we're going to select today. We're going to select meters and then run import. You'll see that the 3 cubes have been brought in and that they are approximately the right sizes, and we have a big one, a medium one, and a little one. And if I go ahead and inspect them, with the inspector here, and I go up to the root of the scene here, you'll see that everything is at 111 scale, and that's what applying that scale did. It means that everything's at 111. So you'll see the cube's GLTF file itself is at there, the scene root is there at 111, and then each cube is at 111. Now you might think that's weird because each cube is clearly a different size, but remember, scale isn't the length. Scale is just sort of like the interpretation of how big something is. So if I make it 2 on the scale, it is double the size. It's not suddenly 2 meters or anything like that. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and double check that I've imported it at the correct scale. To do that, I'm going to use a tooltip that not many people use in Neo, so I'll go ahead and show you where it is. So inside Essential Tools, you'll see that there is a blue tooltip on the right here. It's called the meter tip. You can go ahead and spawn it in. See, it's got that blue edge. I'm going to be using it in desktop. Same thing applies inside of VR though. The meter tip allows you to measure the distance between various objects using various modes. So I'm going to go click here and then here, and you can see, hey, the distance between those 2 clicks is 1.02 meters. There is a bug which is causing it to display at like 10 decimal places. I fixed that, but we haven't released the update yet. So here in the middle cube, I'm going to click this corner, and I'm going to click the other corner, and you'll see that it is 1.9 meters. And remember, in Blender, that was a 2x2 cube, so that's totally fine. We can even check the other axis here by going down to the bottom, and then is that inside the cube? Yes, there we go, 1.9 meters. Let's check the smaller one. Remember, this should be 1 meter. And it is about 1 meter. And let's check the big cube. And you'll see it's about 4 meters. So there you go. That is how to ensure that scale is correct when you are importing and making stuff work inside of Blender and then importing into Neos. If Blender tells you something is at like, I don't know, 200 million meters, and you bring it inside Neos and you select meters, then it'll be 200 meters. So just like keep everything in meters and you'll have a lot better time. This is particularly relevant when it comes to building worlds, levels, doorways, all sorts of stuff like that. If you know how big a human is and you know how big a doorway is, then you can build a level which is proportionally accurate to what you would expect. Hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.